Hello and welcome to another House of Wisdom video, and today we have a special treat for you. Today we're going to look at the Zero Tolerance 0609, and I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to getting this knife. The ZT0609 is designed by R.J. Martin and his son Matt Martin, and produced by Zero Tolerance, which is the high-end division of Kai International. Kershaw is the low-end division. It's a diminutive form of the Zero Tolerance 0606. I'm going to put a picture of it above here so you can see it and see the similarities. The 0606 had a 4-inch blade. The 0606 also weighed a whopping 6.9 ounces and cost $500. So they wanted to make a more ED-friendly, cheaper, less expensive knife, and so they made the 0609. It weighs 3.3 ounces and costs only $220. They make a cheaper version blade, too, with a cheaper steel that's $12 cheaper. So you get the idea. It's a knife that's less than half the weight and less than half the cost. Both of those are in the win column for me. This past Lent, from February till Easter rolls around in April, I didn't buy a knife. A lot of times I fast in Lent and I deprive myself of a food or something that I really like, some media source or something like that. But this time I thought, no, I need to make sure that my knife collecting, I buy and sell knives, as you know, is in its proper place. So I didn't buy a knife from February until Easter rolled around in April. And during that time I thought, what is the first knife I'm going to buy? And this was it. This is the knife I wanted to buy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the specifications. The blade length on the 0609 is 3.4 inches, which is really butting up against the longest blade I ever want to own. The handle length is only 4.25 inches, giving a total knife length of 7.6 inches. The official specs on the knife are 7.4 inches, which is very inaccurate. It is a 7.6 inch knife. And the weight of the knife is 3.3 ounces. The blade of the knife, well, I'm going to do some comparisons first before I talk about the blade of the knife. I'm going to go through some Zero Tolerance's knife. Here is the 0900, which they discontinued this past year, which I still a little bitter about because I like it so much. And then the 0460, and then my favorite high-end production flipper of any is the 0450. So as you can tell, it is very close, but a little bit longer than the 0460 and the 0450, but it's right in that category because it has such a great blade to handle ratio, and I'm going to talk about that in a little more depth right now. I'm going to be comparing the Zero Tolerance 0609 with the Spyderco Para 3, a knife which I really love. As you can tell, the knife handles are exactly the same size. They're 4.25 inches. However, the blade lengths are very different. I'll deploy them both. The Spyderco's Para 3 blade length is 3 inch, and the Zero Tolerance 0609 is 3.4 inches. So you can tell they have the same size handle, but the blades are very different in length. And how does Zero Tolerance have such a good blade to handle ratio? Well, part of it is they nudged the pivot right up to the very end of the knife, and on the Para 3, they wanted to have a 4-point carry, both tip up and tip down, right hand and left hand. And so the pivot is a bit away from the end of the knife so that they could put the drilled holes there so that you could have a tip down carry, something that I personally don't use. The other thing with the Para 3 is they felt it important to put a lanyard tube at the end of the knife so the tip of the blade is a long way from the very end of the knife. In contrast, the 0609, the tip of the blade is just as close as you can get it without having it touch your finger. So this has a great blade to handle ratio, and I was a little bit concerned because it has a 3.4 inch blade, but they put it in this nice compact handle that is 4¼ inch, which is just about right for my hand. There's a little bit of knife sticking over, but it's definitely not too large. So in short, it's a great blade to handle ratio. It's a lot of blade, but it's in a compact package, so I really don't mind it at all. We'll talk about the blade now. The blade is made out of 20 CV steel, It has a drop point configuration. The blade also comes in an S35VN type knife. I'm going to put a picture of it at the top here. This is a blacked out version. It came back as a sprint run a little bit after the initial release of the original 0609. This knife has a less expensive steel, the S35VN, and it comes with a black handle and a blacked out blade. Well, on this knife there is a slight hollow grind to the blade. The blade has a grinder's satin finish in stonewort flats, and Zero Tolerance has a very precise grinder's finish. You could tell it's very uniform and very precise, and then there's a stone wash on the flats. Very beautiful blade. And there's a top swedge here as well as a sulcus. Now there's not a crowning, but there's some champering at the sulcus, so it's a nice comfortable place. It doesn't have an edge that's going to bite you whenever you choke up on it and put your thumb a little bit forward. The jimping on the top of the knife is a sawtooth unidirectional pattern. It has a slow upslope and abrupt downslope, so that whenever you run your finger this way, it goes over it smoothly. If you move it forward, it bites into your hand and gives you a little bit of grip. It's a nice design. The method of deployment of the knife is by flipper. There's a little bit of mild jimping just to get a little traction on the front. It flips forward very nice and has a nice shakedown action going downward. The blade is perfectly centered. The lockup is about 30%. It's a solid lockup. There is an over travel stop and a blade lock bar insert so that it doesn't have any blade stick. The handle is a bronzed anodized titanium handle. On the edges it has some step-offs, and it has some milling in arrow-shaped that are forward-facing, which gives you a little bit of texture and traction. It's both on the clip side and on the show side. The construction of the knife is a flow-through construction. It has the pivot, which I'm going to be talking about a little later, and then two standoffs so you can really clean this out easily. And one thing of note in the handle is there is no interior milling, so they could have made it a little bit lighter, but they chose not to. The pivot on the knife is really what this knife is about. Well, first of all, it runs on KVT ball bearings, and it has a very smooth action, but it has this see-through R.J. Martin pivot. And as you can see, it's very interesting and it's see-through. It's different than any other knife. One of the downsides is that it has a proprietary pivot tool that you need, and it does not come with the knife. I looked on one of the websites and it goes for $21.25. I'll put a picture of it at the top of the page so that you can see what it looks like. The lock on the knife is a frame lock, as I've mentioned. It has a lock bar insert and over travel stop, and locks up really securely, no blade play in any direction. The clip on the knife is a bent surface mounted clip that has the Zero Tolerance logo on it. It has a nice up ramp and a nice spring, and there's no problem with the clip at all. The ergonomics of the knife are really good. There's a cutout for your first finger and your second finger, and then the other two fingers just fit like that. And there is a little bit of lower cutout so that it's easy to disengage the lock bar. The action of the knife is excellent. It forward flips very nicely and shakes shut very nicely. Everything is typical Zero Tolerance excellence. The signage on the knife on the show side is very good. All it has, there's no signage on the handle on either side, but on the show side it just has the Zero Tolerance maker's mark. And on the clip side it has the Zero Tolerance name on the clip, and then on the blade it reads like a novel. It says 0609, Kai USA, R.J. Martin, the steel designation, CPM 20CV, and then the serial number, which is 0540. I don't think anyone really cares about what the serial number, that's more of a manufacturer's designation. I think the other information is reasonable. I just think that they could have left off the serial number. Well, the value of the knife. The knife in this configuration sells at major retailers for $220. It has the 20CV steel version. As I mentioned, there's a less expensive steel, the S35VN version, that goes for $208, and it has a black handle and a black blade. So what are my impressions of the Zero Tolerance 0609? I really like it. Are there opportunities for improvement? Well, I feel, as I've mentioned before, that Kai USA tends to put a little bit too much signage, and it's okay on the show side, but I think that they could have taken off some things on the clip side. And the 800-pound gorilla is that they have a proprietary pivot, and they did not include the proprietary pivot tool. It's going to cost you $21.25, and that's a little bit ugly. We like to be able to take our knives apart and be able to maintain them. So I would have preferred that they actually bump the price up about $20 instead of selling it for $220, sell it for $240, and just throw the pivot tool in there, because it's such a hard pill to swallow, forking out extra money just for a pivot tool. And another thing that they could have improved was that there's no internal milling on the knife, and Zero Tolerance has done internal milling with other knives. They just chose not to do it with this design. And 3.3 ounces is a very reasonable weight, especially since the original 0606 weighed 6.9 ounces. It was a brick, basically, but it could have been even better. But what do I like about it? I like the R.J. Martin see-through pivot, even without the pivot tool. It's just cool, it's different, and it's well done. Zero Tolerance took a great design and made it EDC-friendly size out of it. I really like that. And they made the blade-to-handle ratio better than most knives. Usual handles are about an inch longer than the blade. For example, you have a 3-inch blade that'll carry a 4-inch handle. In Zero Tolerance's 0609, the handle is only 0.85 inches longer than the blade, and they did this by dropping a lanyard hole on the end and then scooting the pivot as close to the end of the knife as they could. Well done, Zero Tolerance. And I just want to give a kudos to Zero Tolerance. I like that they're giving attention to knife owners who want smaller EDC's knives. They did it with the 0450, with the 0460, the Sinkovich designs, and then with the 0900. And now they have the R.J. Martin 0609. It's a substantial blade and a diminutive handle with a great blade-to-handle ratio. So in summary, Zero Tolerance is everything a high-end production knife company should be, and their latest offering, the Zero Tolerance 0609, is no exception. It's the right size, it's well machined, it's got a beautiful blade, it's got beautiful fit and finish. I highly recommend it. Well, that's the video for today. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you on the next House of Wisdom knife review video.